Hi everyone, welcome back. Let's write some more Leetcode today. Today we are solving type of triangle. So the problem states that we are given a zero index integer array nums of size 3 and each element in nums will represent a side of the triangle. So if the triangle is equilateral, if all of its sides are equal, it's isosceles if two of the sides are equal, and if none of the sides are equal, then it's scaling. And we want to return a string representing the type of triangle that can be formed. And if the three sides cannot form a triangle, then we return none. So if we look at this example, all three sides are equal, so we return equilateral. If we look at this example, none of the sides are equal, so we return scaling. So now that we have seen some examples, let's get to how we can solve this problem. So how we can solve this problem is we can run a couple of if-else statements. So the first we should check is if one side is larger than or equal to the other two combined. If that is the case, then we cannot make a triangle, because if two sides combined is smaller than the other side, then it will not be large enough to make a triangular shape. So if that's the case, we return none. Otherwise, then we will secondly check if all sides are equal. If it is, we return equilateral. And if we still have not met a condition, then we check if two sides are equal. If that's the case, then we return isosceles. If all of these statements are not satisfied, then we know it's scaling because none of the sides are equal, and we know that we don't have one side that's larger than the other two combined. So we know it's scaling and we can return scaling. So if we look at these examples, this triangle will pass after the first condition. This will pass after the second condition, so it's equilateral. This will pass after the third condition, so it's isosceles because two sides are equal. And if none of the first three conditions are passed, then we will return scaling, like this triangle, for example. So the time complexity would be O of 1, because a triangle will always only have three sides. So we will only be checking three sides no matter what the input is. And the space complexity will also be O of 1, because we are not using any extra space. So now let's get to the coding part. So first we'll check if one side is longer than the other. So it could be nums of 0 greater than or equal to nums of 1 plus nums of 2. Or it could be nums of 1 is greater than or equal to nums of 0 plus nums of 2. Or it could be nums of 2 is greater than or equal to nums of 0 plus nums of 1. And if that's the case, we'll return none. Otherwise, we'll check if all three sides are equal. So if nums of 0 is equal to nums of 1 is equal to nums of 2, we can return equilateral. Otherwise, we'll check if two of the sides are equal. So nums of 0 equal to nums of 1, nums of 0 equal to nums of 2, or nums of 1 is equal to nums of 2. Nums of 0 equal to nums of 2. If that is the case, we can return isosceles. Otherwise, we'll return scaling. See if it works. Okay, perfect. Hope this was helpful. Thank you all for watching. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I hope to see you all again soon.